Law College, Business Studies from Bali. With impressive academic background and years of practical experience, Mr. Bali has established himself as a force to be reckoned with in the legal arena. Despite his demanding legal career, Sir firmly believes that access to justice is a fundamental right, regardless of social or economic background. To this end, he actively participates in pro bono initiatives providing legal aid to the underprivileged and marginalized sections of the society. His tireless efforts have empowered countless individuals and families, giving them a voice and fighting for their guidance about POCSO. Thank you so much.
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm parmesh. Since we are all here, I'm here to discuss on a very sensitive yet very important topic, POCSO, Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act. By starting my lecture, I would like to play a video.
अगर मैं पापा को बताऊं तो वो कहेंगे कि मैं झूठ बोल रही हूँ। अगर मैं किसी को बताऊं तो मुझे पुलिस पकड़ लेगी।
मेरे टीचर मुझे छूते हैं रोज, मैं किससे कहूँ? मैं स्कूल नहीं गया, पड़ोस वाले भैया मुझे डराकर गंदगी से करता है।
मेरे स्कूल बस का कंडक्टर मेरे साथ गंदा काम करता है। अगर मैं पापा को बताऊं तो वो कहेंगे कि मैं झूठ बोल रही हूँ। पापा मम्मी जब भी घर पे नहीं होते, मामू मुझे छूते हैं, कहते हैं कि ये सब मेरी मम्मी से पूछकर हो रहा है।
मेरी सीनियर ने मेरी तस्वीर मोबाइल से ली है, बाथरूम में। आप वो इंटरनेट में डाल के धमकी दे रहे हैं। अगर आपके साथ ऐसी हरकत होती है तो डरिए नहीं, तुरंत NCPCR के पॉक्सो की बॉक्स पर कंप्लेंट कीजिए, हम आपकी मदद करेंगे।
So basically, POCSO, Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences. What was the need? As a teacher, you must have always thought about it and must be dealing with such kind of things because you are in an institution which is serving children on a very large scale. So if we go to the background of this act, prior to 2012, there was no law, nothing related which used to deal with such kind of offences against the children. Prior to 2012, if something wrong has happened with a child of age of 6 years, 16 years, 26 or 56, everything was dealt by IPC only. The Constitution, Article 15, came social development of a child. POCSO is a very special law, which is not only limited to rape, rather it has a very wider definition which I will be explaining to you. Its basic ingredients, has a very wider definition that I will be explaining it to you, everybody, today. It relates to right of a child to be informed about a child's welfare, development, and what all rights he has at a tender age. A right to be heard. That heard by the definition and word of heard being not only by his guardian or by his parents, but by the teachers and the person whom he trusts and has ultimate authority. POCSO has come with very strict punishments. And by strict punishment means that the minute offense also involves a punishment of 20 years which can go up till life. And by life we mean the remainder of age of the person. So basically the ingredients of POCSO is, it covers both boys and girls. And by child it means any person who is below the age of 18 years, whether it's 2, 12, 16 or 17. Every person is covered in it. लड़का लड़की दोनों इसमें कवर होते हैं. This was introduced because there was no law in India which dealt with child rape. Nothing. The law was very silent and there was absent related to many aspects. So to secure the children of tender age from exploitation so that they can develop in a place of freedom and dignity, POCSO was introduced. This was the basic background of POCSO, and since 2012 till date, it has been in action, and there has been, and overall globally there are 2.4 million cases which we are dealing with. Now if I further count that what all aspects does POCSO cover, there are three kind of aspects that POCSO covers, which is sexual assault, sexual harassment and pornography. What does sexual assault mean? Sexual assault basically means any kind of touch with a sexual intent. What sexual intent on the private part? Now, we as teachers and we as citizens at times, we are shy about saying or speaking what does private parts mean and cover. But the act is very particular. Sexual assault means that if any person touches the vagina, penis, anus, breast of the other person with a sexual intent, then he has said to be committed sexual assault. And this also includes whether he himself shows his any private parts of the person or does anything wrong with a sexual intent. It is called sexual assault. There are two kinds of sexual assault that I will be discussing after some time. Then comes sexual harassment. What does sexual harassment mean? Sexual harassment means actions. Any person who utters any words, sounds, gestures, shows any part of his body with the intention to cause damage to the child is called sexual harassment, and which is further corroborated that if a person shows any object in the form of media for pornographic purpose which can damage the child mentally or physically is also sexual harassment. Now we say if somebody is following someone, constantly watching, trying to contact physically or through digital media or through social platform, that is also covered under sexual harassment. If anybody threatens to use any deception, fabricated image of a child or a real image of a child or any private body part of a child, uploads it on social media, circulates it to WhatsApp, shows it to his or her friends, whether that anybody can be 20 years, 30 years, whether it can be a servant, father, teacher, anybody. Everything is covered under sexual harassment. Then comes the third aspect which the Act covers, it is pornography. Pornography has a very limited definition. Child pornography means any visual deception of sexually explicit conduct involving a child, which includes photographs, video, digital content, which is generated or modified in which a child is deceived, or somebody encourages or forces a child into pornographic use or shows their explicit photos, that all is covered in the pornography. So basically POCSO is covering three kinds of offences against children. First is sexual harassment, second is sexual assault, and third is pornography. Now I would come to, there are two kinds of sexual assault against children. One is penetrative sexual assault, and the other one is aggravated penetrative sexual assault. Now we must be wondering what is penetrative sexual assault. Penetrative sexual assault means any person who penetrates his penis into the vagina, anus, mouth of the other person, or any object, for example, not his body part but any object, then he has said to be committed penetrative sexual assault. And the minimum punishment for this thing is 20 years, which can go up till life. Life means the remainder age of a person who, being the person in the management or staff or any employee of an educational institution who has the authority of serving the child, will be covered under aggravated penetrative sexual assault. Any child who trusts the person or any person who has the authority of a child, whether it can be a father, mother, parents, guardian, domestic relationship, living in the shared household or not living in the shared household, is covered under this act. any relative or any person taking the advantage of a child of his physical and mental disability is also covered under this act, this section. And the minimum punishment in this is 20 years up till life. But there is a lacuna over here which says rigorous imprisonment. Rigorous imprisonment जैसा आप पिक्चरों में देख लोगे पत्थर तोड़ने पे ये कर दिए, but it is more pathetic than that. So these are the two kinds of sexual assault which this act deals with. Now I would come to the abatement. Now I would come to abatement. Abatement, what does abatement means? किसी को उकसाना, कोई गलत काम करने के लिए. Abatement means helping or encouraging anybody to do anything wrong or illegal. अगर for example किसी ने एक बंदे को उकसाया कि उस बच्चे के साथ कल को कुछ गलत करो, और उसे लग रहा है उकसाने वाले को कि उसके साथ कुछ नहीं होगा, and the wrongdoer has actually committed an offense, then the abater will also face the same punishment that the offender will face. For example, if a person has abated the other person to commit an offense of sexual assault, and the person got encouraged and motivated and criticized by the abater has committed that offense, he is of law, he has been convicted, for example 5 years. So the person who has abetted will also be convicted for 5 years. Abatement means any person who is helping or encouraging to do any person something wrong or illegal. If the act abated is committed in consequence of the abatement, then he shall also be punished for the same amount of punishment. Now, if we further move, we come to reporting of offence, which is one of the most important ingredient of this, I would say, lecture, which is also to be followed in school. We as teachers at times we think that some child has come to us stating something as wrong happened to us, or not even stating. हमें लगता है at times child is very active, सब कुछ है, अचानक से एक दिन वो चुप हो गया, कोई वजह होगी इसकी, गुमसुम हो गया किसी कारण से. We should always provide emotional support to that child. We should find out what is wrong, what has happened with the child, and we should immediately report that offence to the higher authorities. We should not keep it at ourselves. It is not our duty that if something wrong has happened with the child, we need to inquire or investigate or to know what wrong has happened to him. Then even we are hand in glove, and even we will be made an accused. Whosoever that person is, who is the offender, and if we are in the knowledge that something wrong has happened with the child, it is our basic duty to immediately inform the authorities so that we are not liable of that offence. And the law on this thing is very strict when it comes to reporting of offence, because it is a legal obligation upon you teachers also to immediately report if you got to know something wrong has happened. And by knowledge, it means some information received about the commission of the offence. There is no need, I repeat, to investigate or to find out. Agar, for example, any child comes to you, ma'am, sir, something wrong has happened to me with me yesterday. What should I do? And the teacher has now knowledge of this thing. He or she should come immediately report to the higher authorities. Every school should have a committee to deal with such kind of offences, and that committee, it is the duty of the committee to not keep things on themselves, but to inform it to the relevant authorities, which is police officials. Not to do internal departmental inquiry, what has happened, what is right, what is wrong. It is not their purpose, it is not their duty to do this. Any information received immediately has to be, you are supposed to tell it to the authorities immediately. Any relevant authorities, don't keep it to yourself, because recently, I was dealing with a case in which the child, I won't disclose the identity or the name of the child. That case was going on in Pizza High Court. A child came to a teacher and disclosed that this has happened with me. One of the relatives, he comes to my house, and whenever he comes, he takes me to the bathroom and does bad me. He wasn't able, and he was a boy, he wasn't able to disclose disclose this fact to his parents, but he disclosed it to the teacher. Teacher immediately disclosed it to the principal, but the principal conceived this fact. The principal called parents of the child, discussed with them, and then left up to the parents that they will be taking some action against that relative. Eventually, after some time, a FIR was registered against the relative of the child, but unfortunately, that FIR even named principal as an accused. Because the principal concealed this fact from the relevant authorities, from the police officials. It was the duty of the principal to immediately inform the parents as well as the police official that this thing wrong has been happened. Let's leave up to the authorities to investigate, to inquire, to find out what the truth is. It is not a department, not a thing to do. That principal was initially taken into custody, unfortunately, and after 15 days, by running from pillar to post, she got bail. So I would request, if anything like this happens to you, read about the offense of the crime. And I would also like to inform you that if you are telling it to somebody or informing it to somebody, the identity of the child does not need to be disclosed, it is to be concealed. And there will be no criminal or civil liability against you as a person. That how do you know, why do you know, आपको कैसे पता लगा, आपने क्या किया. Nobody has a right to ask you, whether it is your principal or whether it is any government official. It is not your liability. You won't be stuck in anything back. And punishment, there is a punishment also. There are two kinds of punishment, one for the ordinary person and the second punishment is related to an institution. Any child, we should take emotionally, yes, we should provide them support, we should understand them, what wrong has been happened, not disclose his identity, tell his parents and immediately tell the principal or the committee you have or the police officials directly. So this is the basic fundamental of POCSO. Why POCSO was? It is a very special law, a very small law which particularly deals in upliftment and development of a children, what a child faces, what kind of trauma he faces. There are three kinds of things this act covers: sexual harassment, sexual assault and pornography. There are two kinds of sexual assault: penetrative sexual assault and aggravated penetrative sexual assault. Then comes abatement. We should never abet, because a person who is abated will also face the same punishment as the wrongdoer. And then comes how to disclose this fact, relating if somebody has any knowledge, any information about the act, then how should he disclose, where should he disclose, or kaise karna chahiye. Then comes what is the reason for implementation of POCSO in the school. I have distributed these. There are 10 points which I thought is necessary that every teacher should be knowing. Because एक teacher एक guru समान होता है. A child trusts his teacher more than his parents also, and the upbringing and development of the child also is directly or indirectly related to the teacher. So if we ever get to know that a child is facing any kind of trauma, anything wrong has been done, we should take immediate action. This is what this law has been made for. First of all, if we see the first point, this law was made, shall take up measures to ensure that the children as well as the parents, guardian are aware about the provisions of this act. It is not only you as teachers who should be aware about this act, but जैसे हमारी parent teachers meeting होती है, सब कुछ होती है, we should discuss these things with the parents or the guardians as well. The situation is so bad, even the relatives or any person whom the child trusts can do anything wrong. So even the parents should be aware about what is right and what is wrong for their child. And all these things that they have to immediately inform, they don't have to concede anything, और उन्होंने किसी से डरना नहीं है, सबसे बड़ी चीज जो है. Every school, according to POCSO Act, should have a school complainants committee, which is called SCC. For example, every school relating to this thing should have this committee, so that anything, any teacher, any employee receives any information, it should be given to this committee immediately. And this committee should work towards safeguarding the children from the challenges they face in their formative years at school. The committee should take up age-appropriate initiatives to create awareness. What is normal body part means. If anybody, any stranger can touch you anywhere, no. Can give you any toffee, chocolate and take you anywhere, no. Whether you are supposed to believe on any person, no. It is a very big no for everything. And even the parents should be aware about these things. Then comes the teachers, management employees. Anyone who witnesses, suspects of a child sexual abuse, etc., or who learns of an incident from the children should report it to the committee, which I had already discussed, comes whenever the person, a teacher receives a knowledge, even in school or outside the school. They should immediately inform this thing to the committee. And there should be a proper mechanism of reporting incidents in school, and the identity of child should not be disclosed. Nothing should be disclosed. It has to be conceived for the welfare and development of the child. It is very much important. Then comes the school complainants committee. And by the child, if somebody thinks that at the age of 17, yes, now they are at adolescence and they are very grown up. But below the age of 18, he or she is still a child and wrong can be done with them. In spite of they have experience of 17 years or they have grown up a lot, but still they are covered under this act. So we even have to take care of these things. The school complaint committee or SCC has gone by that act that they have to report any instance of child abuse mentioned in the act to the relevant authorities, which I have already told. There is no time limit for reporting abuse. A victim can report an offence at any time. The act says even a number of years after the abuse has been committed. 2 साल, 4 साल, 6 साल बाद भी आप बता सकते हैं और उसके अगेंस्ट एक्शन होगा. हमने नहीं जानना सही है गलत है जो भी है. But nothing has to be concealed. POCSO is gender neutral. That is, it extends to protection of both girls and boys. The laws prior to 2012 were not gender neutral. They were not related to children. Sexual harassment, sexual assault wasn't covered under them. Everything went within the definition of rape for children, including schools, sports academies, or any other facility for children, must ensure a proper police verification and a background check on periodic basis of every staff, teaching, non-teaching, contractual, or any person. And these things should not only be covered in a school or in an institution, at home if we are keeping any driver, any domestic help, or any person at a shop or somewhere, anywhere. A proper police verification needs to be done, a proper background check needs to be done. It is very simple, things need to be followed. And there should be a proper training session organized for the child safety and protection. In school, like this session is happening, it is as per government regulations, it is required. Outside school, at homes also, we should not feel shy talking to children about this. We should spread awareness for their own development. Because children are, these days are not the children below the age of 5 have their personal iPads. They are so much aware. In India also it is increasing. So everything needs to be discussed and dealt properly. Now, if anybody has any question related to anything, they are free to discuss. Moreover, I have covered the entire POCSO Act in a nutshell. The basic things that you guys should be aware of. Not a basic thing a lawyer or a police official or a judge should be aware of. Then there are many things that we need to deal and discuss. But as a teacher, as a guardian, these are basic things that you people should be aware of. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your open words. Now the floor is open for the question and answer. If anybody wants to ask any of the questions that कि अगर झूठी कंप्लेंट करा दी है तो क्या होगा, और बच्चे का अगर लाइक कि बच्चा लाइक खड़ा हो गया 40 साल का लेकिन दिमाग अभी भी बच्चों वाला है, so in that case what we have to do. So any of the question if you want to ask, so yes.
Sir, you said that it is gender neutral, so boys, girls and third gender also, or just boys?
But yes, the government is taking, the legislature is taking measures, and hopefully transgenders will also be included. Right now, it is only related to boys and girls.
Sir, what if the offender
What the exact, what if the offender, then he'll be dealt with the Juvenile Justice Board. जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट एक होता है जो 18 के माध्यम से उसको डील करेंगे, नॉट एज पर दिस एक्ट. If the person is below 18, and below 18 maybe at times the court take a different view. If a person is below 16, definitely juvenile justice board उस एक्ट के हिसाब से चलेंगे. But at times between 16 to 18, seeing the allegations or the facts of the case, if it is a very exceptional case, yes, in unique cases एक से भी डील हो सकता है, but usually juvenile justice से डील होगा.
So sir, I want to add one thing. Like we, हमने देखा ही था कि वो जो निर्भया वाला इंसिडेंट हुआ था, तो जो हीनियस ऑफेंस जिसने करा था वो एक जुवेनाइल था, तो उसको डेथ पेनल्टी नहीं मिली, उसको रिफॉर्म करा. उसके बाद से आईपीसी में अमेंडमेंट आई कि अगर ये देखो कि अगर ऑफेंस हीनियस हो रहा है, पहले मतलब चोरी करी है, छोड़ दो, लेकिन अगर इसने हीनियस ऑफेंस कर रखा है, so in that case ना he will be dealt with an accused of the same age. Now he will not be treated as an child, but rather as a major. So this is the thing we can.
Sir, one more thing.
हाँ जी.
What could be done if there is case of false reporting?
False reported. There are, sorry to say, the breeder you don't have to apply your own mind कि बच्चे ने सही बोला है या गलत बोला है. वो स्कूल में बनाएगी कमेटी देख लेगी और कमेटी आगे जब पुलिस ऑफिसर्स को बताएगी वो देख लेगी. But yes, there the act says that if somebody has falsely reported any complaint, even he or she will be imprisoned for a period of 6 months. तो 6 महीने की सजा उनके लिए भी है.
सर इसके अंदर मैं बताना चाहूँगा कि इंसिडेंट हुआ था. Like when I was doing practice, so there was a dispute between two neighbors. Investigation हुई, charge sheet फाइल हुई, तो उसमें ये पाया गया कि that is a false allegation. तो उस नेबर को 1 लाख रुपए का फाइन बोला और बोला कि अगर 1 महीने में जमा नहीं कराया तो 1 साल तो मैं दूंगा आपको, मतलब जो फेलियर ऑफ फाइन ना उसकी 6 महीने और दूंगा. तो सेक्शन 33 है पॉक्सो एक्ट, उसमें सारा मेंशन है कि अगर फॉल्स एलिगेशन बच्चा लगा देता तो बच्चे को सजा नहीं मिलेगी, उसके पेरेंट्स को मिलेगी. So that is the case.
And in today's society, there are a lot of cases which are false and fabricated. People misuse this law for their own personal vendetta, for property disputes, parking disputes. Right now, I am dealing with 5-6 cases like this. One case is going on in Patiala House Court, in which a 87-year-old person has been made an accused by his daughter-in-law, and the victim, the age of the victim is 2 years only. That 87-year-old person has touched the private parts with a sexual intent and he keeps on doing it. And the basic purpose behind this was property dispute. The judge immediately got to know about this and he granted bail to my client. But these things also are rising in the society and we have to be very particular that these things are good for them, what is bad for them. Their morals and ethics from day one should be very strong so that they lead a very nice life ahead. Any other question? Yes, please.
Doctors.
Like for lawyers and doctors also, if a FIR is registered.
No, let's say there is somebody in treatment with a psychiatrist or let's say a psychologist, and they reveal something about to the psychologist. Should the psychologist report because of POXO or he should not report?
The confidentiality clause. You are not supposed to reveal the age, the name, the address, the mobile number or any personal detail which even includes the name of the parents. मैं आपके पॉइंट पे भी अभी आता हूँ. जैसे अगर कोर्ट में एक एफआईआर या चार्जशीट जमा होती है, उसमें विक्टिम का इनमें से कोई डिटेल नहीं होती है. उसमें देयर इज अ काउंसलिंग रिपोर्ट, एक साइकियाट्रिस्ट की रिपोर्ट है, एक डॉक्टर की रिपोर्ट जो एक चार्जशीट में लगी होती है, विच इज मैंडेटरी एज पर लॉ कि कोई भी आज की डेट पे इन एनी क्राइम अगेंस्ट वुमेन which is reported, the victim should be immediately taken to a counseling session. After that, MNC should be conducted in any government hospital. If required, treatment should be provided. But in all those reports, The name is mentioned as Mr. X, Miss Y, stays blank, age blank, mobile number blank. And these things are provided in court in a sealed envelope. It does not become a public document. Even the MLC or the counseling report, it has been mentioned Mr. X, Miss Y. And then there is an attached envelope to it in which the actual particulars of the person are there. Hopefully I have answered your question.
Before reporting,
Before reporting, like give me an example.
a child is going to a psychiatrist or psychologist, and they divulge something to the psychologist, like they are facing some certain issues.
Yeah.
And
Related to POXO.
psychologist or psychiatrist
Should he keep it to himself or report the incident? He should.
Is treating anyone. Within the treatment, he is also, touching all the parts.
That doesn't mean child, and he's touching some child, any child, what he is saying. Then it is not to the sexual intent. It is his duty. He has to do it. So that is not covered in POXO.
like for psychiatrists, they are under care. What this called
Report this offense. They should.
they can
Definitely, because the person, if he or she is coming to a psychiatrist, I had discussed the point if a child is mentally or physically disabled, that's why he is seeking a treatment. The person should immediately report it to the authorities and should even inform his or her family.
उसकी गुड फेथ है एक डॉक्टर है लाइक बहुत सारे केसेस होते हैं कि लाइक सो देयर वाज अ वुमन उसको एड्स था तो उसने बोला कि किसी को बताना मत मेरी शादी होने वाली है तो शादी कर लेगी दूसरे बंदे को उससे भी एड्स हो जाएगा तो डॉक्टर ने अपनी गुड फेथ में बताया तो डॉक्टर के ऊपर कोई केस नहीं चला कि फेथ जो थी डॉक्टर की गुड फेथ
पुलिस ने किसी एक सेकंड जो उनका कर जैसे आपके पास कोई बच्चा आया उसने बोला मेरे साथ कुछ ऐसे ऐसे गलत हुआ you are supposed to tell it to the committee yes you are supposed to tell it to the police officials yes but you are yes to them you have to reveal each and everything which is within your knowledge but you cannot discuss these things sitting in the staff room while having tea but this is तो ये बात he with the sexual or she with the sexual intent can touch any of the private parts of the person.
सर एक सजेशन है कि जैसे 18 साल के कम उम्र के जो बच्चे हैं वही ये सब चीज कर रहे हैं यानी करने वाले ही वही हैं और हो सकता है कि कुछ बच्चों को ये चीज लगे क्योंकि हम अभी माइनर हैं तो हमारे ऊपर कोई केस नहीं हो सकता तो जुवेनाइल जो भी लॉ है उनको इतना पब्लिकली कर दिया जाए कि उनके अंदर भी डर बना रहे कि हम अगर ऐसा करते हैं तो हमारे साथ ऐसा हो सकता है आईपीसी की जो भी सेक्शन है लगभग सभी को पता है वो बहुत इजीली कर जाते हैं उनको पता है कि अगर ऐसा होगा तो इसके अगेंस्ट में ये लॉ कर सकते हैं लेकिन उनको अपने लिए नहीं पता है कि हमारे साथ क्या हो सकता है
इसमें अभी लॉ इतना स्ट्रिक्ट है नहीं बट यस बच्चों को बताना टू स्प्रेड अवेयरनेस इज वेरी मच नेसेसरी and it is very important also. Hopefully the legislation will think about it and they will form a law related to it. First introduce them. Yes.
But what if the parents take it and then come up with something that you did this? Though we have not done, though it's a false statement.
Yeah, it is completely
But then because it's the perception of the parent.
perception of a parent, but that's what it is. At times in Indian society, discussing something related to POXO, समाज के सारे घरों में ये सारी बातें डिस्कस नहीं होती हैं. Up to a very certain age भी डिस्कस नहीं होती हैं. What does sexual intent means? What does sex means? What does private part means? ये नहीं डिस्कस होती है. एक समय हेजिटेशन होती है. I completely understand every person has his own kind of mind and they must be thinking according to it. कई लोग इसे क्या पता गलत सेंस में भी लेते हैं. But yes, you can tell them that this is something we are spreading awareness about as per the government norms. ये हम अपनी तरफ से आपको नहीं बता रहे. We have to spread awareness. This is what the law is saying. This is what the government is saying. This is what the committee in the school is saying. That's why we are even making you.
What are the experiences of the Indian schools? How the board will understand us
You should be very particular. 370.
कई बार ऐसे भी सीन पड़ते हैं ना, तो यूजुअल में टीचर ने नोटबुक करने मांगी कि तुमने डायरेक्टली पेरेंट्स को बता दिया, बच्चे ने झूठी
एलिगेशन लगा
सारे केसेस बहुत हो रहे हैं
वो रूरल एरियाज में बहुत हो रहे हैं and I personally feel that there should be introduced which deals with such things, because these are the lacunas and loopholes in the law which haven't been dealt by any of the legislature till date. And POCSO के लिए 376 में भी ये बड़ी problems हो रही है, and for the wider society if I discuss तो उसमें भी ये काफी problems हैं, but hopefully it will be covered. ये आपको भी देखना चाहिए, अगर पहली बार तो अगर बच्चे ने नोटबुक में होमवर्क की क्या मार्क्स वैसे ही सबके डांटने पे भी हो रहे हैं, बट इतना सब बच्चे नहीं मानते, ये तो एकदम ठीक बात है। Any other query, any other question? Thank you so much. It was pleasure. Thank you.